The Empire fleet entered the Sol system like a storm of metal and fire. 3,000 warships, their weapons charged and shields active, advanced toward Earth in formation. War Master Thexaren stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the primitive human homeworld grow larger on his displays. "They will surrender now," his tactical officer said confidently. No species could withstand this force. But Thexaren was not so certain. Humans had already proven themselves unpredictable. They had built a weapon that violated every civilized norm. They had fought at Proxima Station with a desperation that impressed even him. He suspected Earth had more surprises waiting. On Earth, Admiral Una watched the enemy fleet approach through real-time sensor feeds. Every defensive platform in the system was armed and ready. Every ship capable of flight had been mobilized. But she knew the truth. Earth's fleet could delay the Empire, could make them pay dearly for every kilometer, but they could not stop them. She stood in the command center surrounded by holographic displays showing the entire solar system. Officers worked at stations around her, coordinating the defense. General Bora was preparing ground forces for the inevitable invasion. Daehyun was attempting last-minute diplomatic overtures that everyone knew would fail. The second celestial hammer had been completed 36 hours ago. It sat in a secure facility beneath the Swiss Alps ready for deployment. But deploying it was the problem. The weapon had to be delivered close to a target star, within its outer corona, to be effective. That meant a ship had to penetrate deep into enemy territory, avoiding thousands of warships to reach the Empire's home system. A suicide mission, in other words. Una had not yet announced the mission to the fleet. She knew that as soon as she did, every captain would volunteer. Humans were funny that way. When faced with extinction, they did not become paralyzed by fear. They became dangerous. Dr. Hana entered the command center, accompanied by a younger scientist. "Admiral, this is J1. He worked on the weapons delivery systems. He has something you need to hear." J1 looked nervous but spoke clearly. "Admiral, I discovered a flaw in our original calculations. The Celestial Hammer's deployment system requires the delivery ship to enter the star's upper atmosphere. The radiation and heat at that range will destroy any vessel within minutes. We always knew it was dangerous, but I ran new simulations. The ship will not survive long enough to deploy the weapon and escape." "So it definitely is a suicide mission," Una said quietly. "Yes, Admiral." "I'm sorry." Una nodded slowly. She had suspected as much, but had hoped to be wrong. "Thank you for your honesty, J1. You may return to your duties." After the scientist left, Dr. Hana spoke softly. "I should go. It is my weapon. My responsibility." "You are too valuable," Una replied. "We need you alive to maintain the remaining weapons." "No, this mission requires someone else." She activated a communication channel. "Lieutenant Junho, report to the command center immediately." Junho arrived within minutes, still wearing his combat uniform from the Indomitable. The young officer saluted crisply. Behind him came Engineer Mira, who had been summoned separately. Una explained the mission directly. No soft words, no sugarcoating. She told them about the weapon, the suicide run to the Empire home system, and what success would mean for Earth. "I need volunteers," she finished. "A crew of 20 for a fast courier ship. You will take the Phoenix, our fastest vessel. Your mission is to reach the Empire home system and deploy the Celestial Hammer on their sun. You will not survive, but Earth might." Junho did not hesitate. "I volunteer, Admiral." Mira nodded. "As do I. Someone needs to ensure the weapon deploys correctly." "Good. Select your crew from volunteers only. Make no promises about survival. I want people who understand what they are doing." Within 6 hours, Junho had his crew, 20 brave souls, each knowing they would never see Earth again. They boarded the Phoenix, a sleek courier ship designed for speed rather than combat. The Celestial Hammer was loaded into its cargo bay, secured and armed. But before the Phoenix could depart, Admiral Una had one more card to play. She opened a communication channel that broadcast to every ship in the Sol system, both human and Empire. "This is Admiral Una of Earth Defense Forces. I address the Valtheron Empire directly. You have entered our system with the intent to conquer or destroy us, but you have made a critical error. Over the past month, Earth has deployed Celestial Hammer devices in orbit around 50 Empire-controlled star systems. These devices are armed and linked to a dead man switch. If Earth falls, if our command structure is destroyed, the devices will automatically activate. 50 of your star systems will die. Billions of your people will perish. It was a complete lie. Earth had only 2 functional weapons and one was about to leave on the Phoenix. But the Empire could not know that with certainty. On the Eternal Dominion, War Master Thexaron heard the message and felt ice in his stomach. 50 systems. Could humans have manufactured that many weapons so quickly? The intelligence report said no, but what if the reports were wrong? He opened a channel to the Empress. Your Majesty, I must recommend we halt the advance. If the humans are telling the truth, they are lying. Empress Veltara interrupted, but he could hear doubt in her voice. They must be lying. Continue the attack. But if they are not lying, if even half their claims are true, we could lose entire sectors of the Empire. The Empress was silent for a long moment. Hold position for now. Do not advance further until we can verify their claims, but maintain battle readiness. The Empire fleet stopped advancing. They held position at the edge of the asteroid belt, their sensors scanning constantly for signs of Earth's supposed weapons. In the command center, Yuna allowed herself a small smile. The bluff had bought time. Not much, but enough. Lieutenant Junho, the Phoenix is cleared for departure. Execute your mission. The Phoenix launched from Earth orbit, accelerating rapidly away from the system. Its course took it away from the Empire fleet initially, using Earth's sun to mask its trajectory. Only when it was clear of the immediate battle zone did it turn and jump to faster than light speed. Aboard the Phoenix, Junho sat in the captain's chair and looked at his crew. 20 faces, some young, some experienced, all determined. Engineer Mira worked at a console, running final checks on the weapon. Course plotted for the Empire home system, the navigator reported. We will arrive in 6 days, assuming we can avoid their patrol routes. We will not avoid them all, Junho said calmly. But we only need to reach the target. Nothing else matters. The Phoenix raced through space using every trick and technique to avoid detection. They traveled through rarely used hyperspace routes. They powered down all non-essential systems to reduce their sensor signature. Twice they detected Empire patrol ships and had to change course, adding hours to their journey. On the 4th day, they had their first real challenge. A squadron of Empire cruisers detected them and gave chase. The Phoenix was faster, but the Empire ships were persistent. They are gaining on us, the navigator reported. They will be in weapons range in 10 minutes. Junho made a decision. Pilot Hyejin, you are our best fighter pilot. Take 3 volunteers and launch in the combat shuttles. Create a diversion. Give us time to escape. Pilot Hyejin stood immediately. Understood, sir. It has been an honor. She gathered 3 other crew members and headed to the hangar bay. 4 combat shuttles launched. Tiny vessels compared to the cruisers pursuing them, but fast and maneuverable. Hyejin led her small squadron directly toward the enemy ships, weapons firing. The Empire cruisers, surprised by the audacity of the attack, broke formation to engage the shuttles. It was an unequal fight, but it bought precious minutes. One by one, the shuttles were destroyed, taking their crews with them. But the Phoenix escaped, jumping to faster-than-light speed before the cruisers could return to pursuit. In the Phoenix's bridge, Junho bowed his head. They saved us. We cannot waste their sacrifice. 2 days later, the Phoenix entered the Empire home system. The star at its center burned bright and steady, orbited by 8 planets, including the Empire's homeworld. Sensors detected hundreds of ships in the system, along with massive orbital facilities and defense platforms. We cannot fight our way through that, Mira said, studying the tactical displays. We do not need to fight, Junho replied. We only need to reach the star. He plotted a course that took them through the system's outer regions, avoiding the densest concentrations of ships. The Phoenix accelerated to maximum speed, burning its engines at dangerous levels. Empire sensors detected them within minutes. Alarms sounded across the system. Warships changed course to intercept. Defense platforms activated their weapons. But the Phoenix was small and fast, and it had a head start. It dove toward the star like a meteor, dodging weapons fire and avoiding pursuit ships. Its hull began to heat up as it entered the star's outer atmosphere. Deploying weapon now, Mira announced, her fingers flying across controls. The cargo bay doors opened. The celestial hammer dropped free, its own thrusters carrying it deeper into the star. Mira transmitted the activation codes. The device responded, beginning its deadly work. Weapon deployed successfully, she reported. The star will go critical in approximately 12 hours. Part 5. The galaxy holds its breath. Panic swept through the Empire home system like wildfire. Within minutes of Lieutenant Junho's broadcast, every communication channel overflowed with desperate messages. Ships broke formation to head for evacuation points. Ground facilities initiated emergency protocols. On the homeworld itself, billions of citizens looked up at their sun, wondering if it would kill them. Empress Veltara watched from her palace as her civilization dissolved into chaos. Her advisors shouted conflicting suggestions. Military commanders demanded orders. Civil authorities begged for evacuation resources that did not exist. Silence, she commanded, and her authority was such that everyone obeyed immediately. She turned to her chief scientist. Is this real? Can they actually make our sun explode? The scientist, an elderly being who had served 3 previous rulers, nodded slowly. We analyzed the recordings from their demonstration. The device they used was sophisticated beyond our initial assessment. If they deployed a similar weapon in our sun, yes, the star will go critical. Based on their data, we have approximately 12 hours. How many can we evacuate in 12 hours? Perhaps 10 million, Your Majesty, no more. Our homeworld has a population of 18 billion. The numbers were incomprehensible. 18 billion lives, the heart of the empire, 3,000 years of civilization. All of it would end in 12 hours unless something changed. Veltara made her decision. Open a communication channel to Earth. I will speak with whoever leads their military forces. On Earth, Admiral Yuna was coordinating the defense when the message arrived. The Empress herself wanted to talk. Yuna felt a surge of hope but kept her expression neutral. She had not expected the mission to succeed, had prepared herself for Earth's destruction, but Junho and his crew had done the impossible. Put her through, Yuna ordered. The holographic display activated, showing Empress Veltara in full ceremonial armor. The 2 leaders studied each other across the void of space. One had ruled for 60 years. The other had spent 40 years preparing for this moment. You have won, the Empress said bluntly. Our sun is dying. My people face extinction. What do you want? Your immediate withdrawal from Sol system, Yuna replied. Your unconditional surrender. Disarmament of half your military fleet. Reparations to Earth for the costs of this war. And oversight by a reformed Galactic Council to ensure you never threaten another species again. You demand we make ourselves defenseless. Other species will sense weakness and attack. That is the price of threatening Earth. You could have left us alone. You chose war. Veltara's expression hardened. I reject your demand for complete disarmament. The Empire has enemies. We cannot survive without defenses. Yuna had expected this. Then we are at an impasse. Your sun continues to destabilize. In 11 hours, your civilization dies. And you are comfortable with 18 billion deaths? The question hung in the air. Yuna thought about all the people who would die. Children, families, people who had nothing to do with the Empire's military decisions. The weight of those lives pressed down on her, but she also thought about Earth, about humanity's colonies, about the billions of humans who would have died if the Empire had won. I did not start this war, Yuna said quietly. You did. If your people die, their blood is on your hands, not mine. Dr. Hana burst into the command center at that moment. Admiral, I need to speak with you privately. Now. Yuna muted the communication channel. What is it? There is a failsafe, Hana said urgently. I built it into the weapon's design. The device can be deactivated remotely, but only within a narrow time window. We can save the Empire's home system, but only if we act within the next hour. Yuna felt the world shift beneath her feet. She could save billions of lives, but doing so would weaken Earth's position dramatically. Why did you not tell me this before? Because I knew you would use it as a negotiating tool, Hana admitted. And I was not sure I wanted to give you that option. Those people deserve to die for what their empire tried to do to us. But, she trailed off, unable to finish. But you cannot live with 18 billion deaths on your conscience. Yuna finished. She understood completely. She felt the same conflict. She unmuted the channel. Empress, I have new information. The weapon can be deactivated, but you must agree to our terms immediately. Withdraw all forces from human space, except Council oversight. Dismantle 40% of your military fleet, not 50% but 40, and pay reparations over 50 years. Agree now and I will deactivate the weapon. You have 1 hour to decide. Veltara straightened. Pride and pragmatism warred in her expression. The Empire had never surrendered, never bowed to another species. But her people's survival hung in the balance. If I agree and you deactivate the weapon, what guarantee do I have that you will not simply activate it again later? You have my word, Una said simply. And the fact that Earth wants peace, not genocide. We never wanted this war. We only wanted to be left alone. The Empress closed her eyes. When she opened them again, something had changed in her expression. Acceptance, perhaps. Or simply exhaustion. I agree to your terms. All of them. Now save my people. Una nodded to Dr. Hana, who immediately began working at a console. She transmitted a complex series of codes toward the Empire home system, traveling at the speed of light. The failsafe built into the celestial hammer received the signal and activated. Deep within the Empire's sun, the device shut down. The artificial instabilities it had created began to dissipate. The star's natural regulatory systems took over, slowly restoring balance to the fusion reactions at its core. The star would survive. On the homeworld, billions watched their sun through telescopes and sensors. Scientists detected the change almost immediately. The star was stabilizing. They were not going to die. The relief was overwhelming. People wept in the streets. Some prayed to their gods. Others simply collapsed, unable to process the emotional whiplash of facing death and then being saved. In her palace, Empress Veltara issued orders to her fleet. All ships withdraw from human space immediately. Return to home ports. The war is over. War Master Thexaren, who had watched everything from his flagship, struggled to accept what had happened. His empire had been defeated by a species they had considered insignificant. But he was a professional soldier. He knew when to accept defeat. All ships, you heard the Empress. Withdraw to home territory. The war is over. The massive Empire fleet turned and began the long journey home. Earth's defenders watched them go, hardly daring to believe it was real. In the command center, Una allowed herself to sit down for the first time in days. Around her, officers cheered and embraced. They had won. Against impossible odds, Earth had survived. Daehyun entered the command center, his face showing relief and exhaustion in equal measure. The council is calling an emergency session. They want to discuss new galactic laws regarding weapons of mass destruction. Let them talk, Una said. Earth will attend, but we will not apologize. We did what we had to do. Over the following months, the galaxy adjusted to its new reality. The Galactic Council underwent massive reforms. New laws prevented any single species from dominating others. An enforcement arm was created, with Earth as one of its permanent members. The balance of power had shifted. The Valtheron Empire began the painful process of disarmament. 40% of their military fleet was decommissioned. Oversight committees monitored their activities. Some Empire citizens resented the humiliation. Others were simply grateful to be alive. Dr. Hana destroyed all remaining Celestial Hammer devices. She deleted the research data, burned the physical documents, and erased every trace of how to build the weapon, but she kept the deactivation codes, storing them in a secure location that only she knew. Just in case, Captain Taeyang was promoted to Fleet Admiral. He oversaw the expansion of Earth's defensive forces, ensuring humanity would never again be vulnerable to threats. The colonies flourished as the Empire withdrew from contested space. Lieutenant Junho and his crew were honored as heroes. Monuments were built in their memory. Their names were taught in schools alongside other great figures of human history. They had given their lives to save Earth, and Earth would never forget. Admiral Una retired 6 months after the war ended. She had accomplished her life's mission, ensuring humanity's survival among the stars. She spent her remaining years writing a detailed history of the war, wanting future generations to understand the costs of peace. Commander Daehyun became Earth's first galactic ambassador, representing humanity's interests in the Reformed Council. He worked tirelessly to build alliances and prevent future conflicts. His diplomatic skills, honed during the war, made him one of the most respected figures in galactic politics. 1 year after the war, Empress Veltara sent a private message to Earth. It was addressed to no one in particular, simply marked for human leadership. The message was brief. You have taught the Empire fear. We believed ourselves invincible. We believed our strength made us immune to consequences. You proved us wrong. We will not forget this lesson. Perhaps in time our species can build something better than fear. But for now, know that the Empire respects Earth's strength and will honor our agreement. The galaxy has changed. We must change with it. The message was read by Earth's leadership and then filed away. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with activity when Daehyun arrived. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in small groups whispering among themselves. Everyone knew today would be important. Earth's 7 days were up, and the Valtheron Empire expected an answer. Daehyun took his position at the human delegation platform. Behind him stood Minho and 2 security officers. Across the vast chamber, the Valtheron delegation occupied their elevated seats, looking down at everyone else like predators watching prey. The council speaker, an insect-like being named Raxthun, called the session to order. His multifaceted eyes reflected the chamber lights as he spoke. The human representative may now deliver Earth's response to the Valtheron proposal. Daehyun stood and activated his microphone. His voice carried through the chamber, translated instantly into 1,000 languages. Earth rejects the Valtheron demands. We will not surrender our colonies. We will not pay tribute. We will not accept foreign military bases on our worlds. The Valtheron ambassador rose, his scales bristling with anger. Then you choose war. The Empire will crush your pathetic species within months. Your cities will burn. Your colonies will be occupied. This council will witness the price of human arrogance. Perhaps, Daehyun said calmly, but before any war begins, Earth wishes to demonstrate our defensive capabilities. We invite all council members to observe a test of our latest technology. Confusion rippled through the chamber. Several delegates activated their communication devices, seeking instructions from their governments. The Valtheron ambassador laughed, a harsh sound that made several nearby beings flinch. What possible technology could humans develop that would concern the Empire? You are children playing with toys. Daehyun smiled, though his heart pounded in his chest. Then you have nothing to fear from watching our demonstration. We have selected System J447, an uninhabited star system in neutral space. Our test will occur in 72 hours. All are welcome to observe. The council session dissolved into chaos. Delegates shouted questions, demanded explanations, and argued among themselves. Daehyun left the chamber without answering any of them. Let them wonder. Let them worry. In 3 days they would understand. Captain Taeyang stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Indomitable. The massive warship led a small fleet of 12 vessels toward System J447. Behind them followed observation ships from 40 different species, including 3 Valtheron cruisers. Everyone wanted to see what humans had created. Status report, Taeyang ordered. All ships reporting ready, sir. Lieutenant Junho replied from his station. The research vessel Prometheus has the weapon secured and ready for deployment. Taeyang nodded. Aboard the Prometheus, Dr. Hana supervised the final preparations. The scientist had designed the celestial hammer, but she took no pride in her creation. Taeyang had spoken with her before the fleet departed, and he saw the fear in her eyes. Not fear of the Empire, but fear of what her weapon could do. The fleet arrived at System J447 right on schedule. The system contained a yellow star similar to Earth's sun, with 6 barren planets and an asteroid belt. No life existed here. No one would mourn if this star vanished from the universe. The observation ships maintained a safe distance, several light hours away. Sophisticated sensors recorded everything. The galaxy was watching. On the Prometheus, Dr. Hana ran through the final checklist. Engineer Mira worked alongside her, double-checking every connection and circuit. The celestial hammer sat in the deployment bay, looking almost ordinary. Just a machine. But Hana knew better. This machine could end worlds. All systems green, Mira reported. We can launch whenever you are ready, Doctor. Hana took a deep breath. She opened a communication channel to the Indomitable. Captain Taeyang, the weapon is ready for deployment. Understood, Doctor. You may proceed when ready. Hana hesitated for just a moment. Once she pushed this button, there was no going back. The galaxy would know what humans had built. Some would fear them. Others would want to destroy them. But Earth needed this. Without the weapon, the Empire would crush them. She pressed the button. The celestial hammer launched from the Prometheus, its engines igniting as it accelerated toward the star. The device was small, no larger than a standard cargo container, but it carried enough power to rip a star apart from the inside. Lieutenant Junho monitored the weapon's progress from the Indomitable. Devices on target. Impact with stellar corona in 30 minutes. The wait felt eternal. Captain Taeyang watched the countdown timer. acutely aware that dozens of alien ships were recording every moment. If the weapon failed, Earth would look foolish. Worse, they would look weak. The Empire would attack immediately. The celestial hammer entered the star's outer layers and activated. Microscopic probes deployed, each one programmed to interfere with the delicate balance of nuclear fusion at the star's core. The star had burned for billions of years, converting hydrogen to helium in a careful dance of gravity and energy. The celestial hammer disrupted that dance. At first, nothing visible happened. The star continued to shine as it always had. But deep in its core, instabilities grew. Fusion reactions sped up in some areas and slowed in others. The star's natural regulatory systems tried to compensate, but could not keep up with the artificial chaos spreading through its heart. 2 hours after activation, the star's light output increased by 5%. 4 hours later, it increased by 15%. The outermost planets in the system grew warmer as increased radiation struck them. 6 hours after activation, the star began to pulse. Its surface roiled and churned, throwing massive solar flares into space. The magnetic field surrounding it twisted into impossible configurations. The star is entering the final phase, Dr. Hana reported, her voice barely above a whisper. Cascade failure will begin soon. 8 hours after activation, the star's core reached critical instability. The fusion reactions at its heart exploded outward with unimaginable force. The star expanded rapidly, swelling to many times its original size. Its outer layers blasted into space. Then came the supernova. The star exploded with the power of 1 billion atomic bombs. Light and radiation expanded outward in a perfect sphere of destruction. The 6 planets in the system vaporized instantly, reduced to ionized gas. The asteroid belt became a cloud of superheated particles. Everything within 3 light-years of the star ceased to exist. The observation ships, safely distant, recorded it all. Their sensors captured every phase of the star's death. The data was already being transmitted to every corner of the galaxy. On the Indomitable's bridge, silence reigned. Lieutenant Junho stared at his instruments, his face pale. Captain Taeyang watched the expanding cloud of plasma where a star had existed just hours before. Message to all observation vessels, Taeyang said quietly. Earth's demonstration is complete. We hope this clarifies our defensive posture. Aboard one of the Valtheron cruisers, military officers watched the recordings in horror. One of them, a young commander, turned to his superior. They can kill stars. They can destroy entire solar systems. The senior officer said nothing for a long moment. Then he activated his communication system. Send a priority message to the Empress. Tell her humanity possesses a weapon that can eliminate our home system. Recommend immediate strategic reassessment. Back on the Prometheus, Dr. Hannah sat alone in her quarters. Through the window, she could see the glowing remains of the dead star. Beautiful and terrible. She thought about all the stars in the galaxy, each one potentially vulnerable to her creation. She thought about the billions of beings living near those stars, unaware that humans now possessed the power to erase them. Engineer Mira found her there an hour later. Dr. Captain Taeyang wants to return to Earth immediately. The fleet is preparing to depart. Hana nodded but did not look away from the window. Do you think we did the right thing, Mira? I think we did what we had to do, Mira replied carefully. The Empire gave us no choice. No, Hana agreed softly. No choice at all. The human fleet departed System J447, leaving behind nothing but cooling plasma and radiation. Throughout the galaxy, governments scrambled to respond to what they had witnessed. Some called for emergency council sessions. Others began secret negotiations with Earth, hoping to secure alliances before the coming war. And in the heart of the Valtheron Empire, Empress Veltara watched the recordings of Earth's demonstration over and over. She had ruled for 60 years, had conquered 20 species, had never known defeat. But now, a species she had considered barely worthy of notice had revealed a weapon that could destroy her entire civilization. For the first time in her long life, the Empress felt something she had not experienced in decades. Fear. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the Valtheron ambassador stepped forward. His scales shimmered under the artificial lights, each movement deliberate and menacing. Daehyun stood among the representatives of 1,000 worlds. His human frame small compared to most species present, but his spine remained straight. He knew what was coming. Everyone knew. The Valtheron Empire has shown patience with the human species, the ambassador announced. his voice booming through the translation devices embedded in every seat. But our patience has limits. Earth controls 17 star systems that rightfully belong to our territory. These systems were explored by Valtheron scouts centuries before humans even achieved faster-than-light travel. Daehyun clenched his fists but said nothing. The historical records showed otherwise, but in the Council, truth mattered less than power. The Valtheron Empire had ruled a quarter of the galaxy for 3,000 years. Earth had been part of the galactic community for only 30. The Empire presents Earth with a choice, the ambassador continued. Surrender control of 12 star systems. Pay tribute of 50 million standard credits annually. Accept Valtheron military bases on 3 human colonies. Do this and Earth may remain independent. Refuse and face the consequences. The chamber erupted in whispers. Several smaller species looked at Daehyun with what might have been sympathy. Most looked away. Nobody wanted to anger the Empire. Daehyun activated his speaking platform. The human government requires time to consider this proposal. We request 30 days to respond. The Valtheron ambassador's laugh echoed through the chamber. You have 7 days. Not 1 hour more. The council session ended shortly after. Daehyun walked through the curved corridors of the council station, passing beings of every shape and size. A few nodded to him. Most avoided his gaze. He understood. The Empire had crushed rebellions before. Entire species had been reduced to slavery for refusing their demands. His assistant, a young human named Minho, caught up with him near the transport bay. Sir, the ship is ready. We can leave immediately. Send a message ahead, Daehyun said quietly. Tell Admiral Yuna I need an emergency meeting with the Security Council the moment we arrive on Earth. The journey back to Earth took 3 days, even at maximum speed. Daehyun spent most of that time reviewing files, looking for any diplomatic solution, any precedent that might help. He found nothing encouraging. Species that defied the Empire either submitted eventually or disappeared from history. When his ship entered Earth's orbit, Daehyun looked down at the blue and green world below. Humanity had finally reached the stars, had built colonies on distant worlds, had achieved things their ancestors could only dream of. And now an empire threatened to take it all away. The Security Council met in an underground facility beneath Geneva. The room was simple, designed for function rather than appearance. Admiral Yuna sat at the head of the table, her gray hair tied back, her face showing the weight of 40 years in military service. Around her sat the leaders of Earth's defensive forces and intelligence agencies. Daehyun delivered his report. He held nothing back, explaining the Empire's demands and the 7-day deadline. When he finished, silence filled the room. General Bora spoke first. We can't win a conventional war against them. Their fleet outnumbers ours 50 to 1. Their technology is more advanced. Even with all our colonies united, we would last maybe 3 months. Surrender is not acceptable, said Director Sungmin of Earth Intelligence. If we give them 12 systems now, they will demand more later. Empires always do. In 20 years, they will own Earth itself. Admiral Yuna raised her hand and everyone fell silent. She looked at each person around the table, then pressed a button on her console. The lights dimmed and a holographic display appeared above the table. 15 years ago, Yuna began, we started a research project. It was classified at the highest level. Only 20 people in the entire government knew about it. We called it Project Celestial Hammer. The hologram showed a device roughly cylindrical, covered in complex machinery. Daehyun leaned forward, studying it. What does it do, he asked. It destroys stars, Yuna said simply. More precisely, it destabilizes a star's fusion reactions. Within hours, the star goes supernova. Everything within 3 light years is obliterated. The room exploded with voices. Shock, disbelief, and horror mixed together. Daehyun felt his stomach turn. A weapon that could destroy entire solar systems. The galactic treaties forbade such weapons. Every species had agreed that certain lines should never be crossed. This violates every... General Boris started. I know, Yuna interrupted. It violates 17 treaties. If the Council discovered we built this, they would authorize our destruction immediately. But we had no choice. We saw how the Empire treats weaker species. We needed insurance. Does it work? Daehyun asked quietly. We have never tested it on an actual star, Yuna admitted. But our simulations show a 97% success rate. Dr. Hana, the lead scientist, is confident it will perform as designed. Daehyun sat back in his chair. a planet-destroying weapon. The thought made him sick, but he understood the logic. Earth needed a deterrent, something to make even the Empire think twice. "What are you proposing?" he asked. "We demonstrate the weapon," Yuna said. "Not on an Empire star, not yet. We find an uninhabited system and show the galaxy what we can do. Then we make our position clear. Leave Earth alone or face consequences that no Empire can survive." "They will call our bluff," Director Sung-min said. "The Empire has never backed down from threats." "This is not a bluff," Yuna replied coldly. "If the Empire attacks Earth, we will use this weapon on their home system. We will erase their civilization from existence. They will believe us because they will see what the weapon can do." The debate continued for hours. Some argued for immediate surrender. Others wanted to fight conventionally and hope for a miracle. But gradually consensus formed around Yuna's plan. Earth would not surrender. Earth would reveal its terrible secret and pray that the threat alone would be enough. Dae-hyun volunteered to return to the council and deliver Earth's response. As he left the meeting, Admiral Yuna stopped him in the corridor. "You understand what we are doing?" she asked. "If this goes wrong, if the Empire calls our bluff and attacks, billions will die. Maybe trillions." "I understand," Dae-hyun said. "But if we surrender now, humanity dies slowly instead of quickly. At least this way we die on our feet." Yuna nodded. 7 days. Make them count." Dae-hyun returned to his ship and set course back to the council station. As Earth shrank behind him, he thought about what was coming. Humanity was about to gamble everything on a single terrifying weapon. The galaxy would either respect Earth's strength or unite to destroy them. There was no middle ground anymore. Empress Veltara stood before the holographic display showing Earth's demonstration. She had watched the recording 17 times now, studying every detail. The star's death played out in accelerated time, a sun reduced to expanding plasma in minutes. Her military advisors stood silently around her, waiting for her decision. "They have one weapon," she said finally. "One device. How long would it take them to build more?" War Master Thexaron stepped forward. He commanded the Empire's military forces, had crushed rebellions on 30 worlds, and had never lost a major battle. "Our intelligence suggests they have limited production capability. Perhaps 3 or 4 such devices total. No more. And if they use one on our home system, then our civilization dies," Thexaron admitted. "But consider this, Empress. If we back down now, every minor species in the galaxy will see Earth's weapon as the solution to their problems. Within a decade, dozens of civilizations will develop similar technology. The Empire's dominance will end." Veltara considered this. The War Master was right. Earth's weapon changed everything. If the Empire showed weakness now, their authority would crumble. Other species would rebel, sensing opportunity. The carefully constructed order of the galaxy would collapse. "We must eliminate this threat before they can deploy more weapons," she decided. "Assemble our forces. We will strike Earth directly before they can complete additional devices." Thexaron smiled. "I will personally lead the attack fleet. We will bring enough ships to overwhelm their defenses within days." "One condition," the Empress said coldly. "Find and destroy all of their weapons research facilities. If even one scientist escapes with the knowledge of how to build these devices, our victory will be incomplete." The War Master bowed. "It will be done, Empress." On Earth, Admiral Yuna received word of the Empire's fleet movements within hours. Her intelligence network, built over decades, had assets throughout the galaxy. They reported that the Empire was mobilizing the largest military force in recorded history. Over 3,000 warships, drawn from every corner of their territory, were converging on a staging area near human space. She called an emergency meeting of Earth's leadership. General Bora arrived first, followed quickly by Dae-hyun and Director Sung-min. Dr. Hana and Engineer Mira joined via secure video link from the research facility. "They are coming," Yuna said without preamble. "The Empire has decided that our weapon is too dangerous to tolerate. They will try to destroy us before we can complete more devices." "How long do we have?" General Bora asked. 3 weeks, maybe 4. Their fleet is massive, but it takes time to coordinate movements across that distance. Dae-hyun leaned forward. "What about diplomatic options? Can we negotiate?" "The Empire does not negotiate with species it plans to exterminate," Director Sung-min said grimly. "They have made their choice." All eyes turned to Dr. Hana on the video screen. The scientist looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. We have 3 more celestial hammers in various stages of construction. One is nearly complete, maybe 5 days from deployment. The other 2 will take weeks. We need that second weapon operational, Admiral Yuna said. Without it, we have no credible threat. The Empire knows we would not destroy their home system unless we had no choice. But if we have multiple weapons, they must assume we will use them defensively on their invasion fleet. We will work around the clock, Dr. Hana promised. But I need to be honest. These devices are incredibly complex. Rushing the construction increases the risk of failure. Understood. Do your best. The meeting turned to military strategy. Captain Taeyang joined via communication link from the Indomitable, which was patrolling the outer colonies. We cannot win a conventional engagement against 3,000 enemy warships, he said bluntly. Our entire fleet numbers 400 ships. We are outnumbered 7-1. Then we do not fight conventionally, General Bora said. We use guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, make them pay for every light year they advance. We also need allies, Dahyun added. I have been in contact with several species through back channels. Many are terrified of the Empire, but some are willing to help secretly. The Kelrath have offered to share intelligence. The Moran will sell us weapons, though at outrageous prices. Buy whatever we can afford, Yuna ordered, and activate all defense systems around Earth and the core colonies. If the Empire reaches Sol, we need to be ready for a siege. Over the next 3 weeks, Earth prepared for war. Shipyards worked day and night building new vessels. The colonies strengthened their orbital defenses. Millions of civilians were evacuated from the outer settlements to safer locations deeper in human territory. Captain Taeyang led the Indomitable and a battle group of 40 ships to Proxima Station, humanity's furthest outpost. The station orbited a red dwarf star, its massive docking facilities capable of servicing 100 ships simultaneously. It would be the first target of the Empire's advance. Lieutenant Junho served as tactical officer on the Indomitable's bridge. The young officer had proven himself skilled during training exercises, but this would be his first real combat. He studied the sensor displays constantly, watching for the first signs of enemy ships. Sir, we are detecting gravitational distortions, Junho reported. Multiple ships entering normal space bearing 270. How many? Taeyang asked calmly, scanning now. I count. 40 warships, sir. Empire signatures confirmed. 40 ships against 40. Even odds, except Empire vessels were generally more powerful than human designs. But Taeyang had not survived 20 years in space by taking fair fights. He had prepared Proxima Station with surprises. All ships initiate defensive pattern Delta, he ordered. Station weapons, prepare to fire on my command. The Empire ships advanced in standard formation, confident in their superior technology. They opened fire at maximum range, their plasma cannons sending bolts of superheated gas across the void. The human ships scattered, using their superior maneuverability to avoid the initial barrage. Then Taeyang sprang his trap. Hidden among the asteroids near the station were automated weapons platforms, dozens of them, each armed with missiles and railguns. They activated simultaneously, catching the Empire formation from an unexpected angle. All ships, focus fire on their lead cruiser, Taeyang commanded. The human fleet concentrated their weapons on a single Empire vessel. Missiles and energy beams struck its shields from multiple directions. For a moment, the shields held. Then they collapsed and the ship's hull ruptured. Atmosphere vented into space as the cruiser broke apart. But the Empire ships recovered quickly from the surprise. They adapted their formation, spreading out to avoid concentrated fire. Their return fire became more accurate. A human destroyer took a direct hit and exploded. Then another. Lieutenant Junho worked frantically at his console, trying to track enemy movements and coordinate defensive fire. Sir, 3 Empire ships are breaking off. They are moving to flank us. Taeyang saw the danger immediately. If those ships got behind his formation, they could devastate his fleet. Helm, bring us about. Target those flanking vessels with everything we have. The Indomitable turned, its massive bulk surprisingly agile for its size. The ship's main batteries fired, sending magnetically accelerated projectiles toward the flanking enemy ships. One took a hit that crippled its engines. The other 2 continued their attack. The battle raged for 4 hours. Ships on both sides were damaged or destroyed. The space around Proxima Station filled with debris and radiation. But gradually, the human tactics took their toll. The Empire ships, accustomed to overwhelming opponents with superior firepower, struggled against the unpredictable guerrilla tactics. When the Empire finally retreated, they had lost 23 ships. The human fleet had lost 16, including several that had been damaged beyond repair. It was a victory, but a costly one. Casualty reports coming in, Lieutenant Junho said quietly. We lost over 4,000 personnel. Taiyang felt the weight of those deaths but could not allow grief to slow him. Prepare the fleet for immediate departure. The Empire will send reinforcements probably within hours. We need to fall back to the secondary defensive line. As the Indomitable limped away from Proxima Station, Taiyang recorded a message for Admiral Yuna. We stopped their first wave, but barely. They are testing our defenses, probing for weaknesses. The main fleet is still coming. We need that second weapon, Admiral. Without it, we cannot hold. In her underground command center, Yuna received the message and closed her eyes briefly. Earth had won a battle, but the war had just begun. She opened a channel to Dr. Hana. How much longer? She asked simply. 2 more days, Hana replied. Maybe less if nothing goes wrong. Make it less, Yuna said. Our people are dying up there. Dr. Hana turned back to her work, hands moving quickly across the control panels. Around her, dozens of technicians assembled the components of humanity's second star-killing weapon. The fate of Earth rested in their hands, and they all knew it. Time was running out.